Hello and welcome to the Racing Gambit presented by USA Wager on the Sports 2.0 network. Very good morning to you all. So today we're going to look through the racing for this coming weekend. Obviously, we won't be doing it alone. Ace, how are you doing?
Doing phenomenal, but I'm also very sad. We had a horse racing death this week, and it's also the end of Arlington Park tomorrow. But you know what? We got some great stakes action. I'm ready to jump into it with you. But I think we should highlight last week, right? What happened last week?
Yeah, let's get into last weekend action first. So we'll start with the Lacoste Grove Stakes, where She Dares the Devil won by a neck from Crystal Ball. Very, very close finish there. Major General come out on top in the Iroquois Stakes.
Iroquois
Iroquois
crushing it.
Stakes. And then the Poker Hunters went the way of Hidden Connection from Mamarina, who I think we did actually tip up to do quite well in that. Obviously not well enough though because it comes second. But I thought the star of last weekend, Ace, was Yibia in the Jockey Club Derby. I thought he was stunning.
He really was, and I mean, he was way back come the final turn. I literally said to myself, This got to be a super horse to get this done." Came flying on the outside and got the money, and I was like, "Okay, this one's one to watch out for." He had a lot of trouble in the first three turns. No problem going into the final stretch.
No, there's just think about Charlie Appleby horses at the moment. They're just flying. And I struggle to kind of see too many kind of doubts in him for the Breeders' Cup turf in Delmar, where at the minute you can get about 6-1 on him, which I think is a hell of a bet at the minute.
If they're pointing him towards it, it's a heck of a bet. But when it comes Breeders' Cup time and turf, I'm going to look for some bombs. But yeah, it's going to be hard to beat that one, especially if you get the price at 6-1 now. Probably be 3-1 day of the race, especially with those who aren't going to be coming. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, you did mention at the top then that there was some very, very sad news this week. Santa Barbara, uh, unfortunately, has passed away. A pelvic injury, but it's such a shame, isn't it? She was such a bright and promising 3-year-old, and we kind of got the impression something was up earlier in the week when she was scratched, or like she was rerouted rather, away from the Breeders' Cup. But what were your initial thoughts when you heard this news?
Really sad. I'm really sad about it. I actually got to see her run at Arlington, which, how ironic, in all honesty. But what's really interesting is there's so many turf horses that just aren't going to the Breeders' Cup, and Santa Barbara would have been a huge, draw, I think, for a lot of fans who have seen him run, and just really unfortunate and really sad to hear.
Yeah, yeah, it was very, very sad news. Uh, yeah, so obviously it was already announced earlier with the Mother Earth would be going to the Breeders' Cup instead, and I don't think Aiden's going to get his winner with Mother Earth and other bits and pieces as well. We're going to talk about the Arc next week, but it was announced this week that Hurricane Lane would be going to the Arc, and he'd be going for a bit of history to become the first ever winner of the Arc that had previously won the St. Ledger before it. And then St. Mark's Basilica, we don't really know what's going on with him. He hasn't been back in training since the Irish Champion Stakes. And that Aidan O'Brien's already talking about sending to stud. So who knows what's going to go on there?
It's really something. And listen, I guess I really don't blame these owners wanting to stud their horses so quickly because that's where the real money is. But it's hard to, and I'm going to use the word justify. It's hard to justify what's going on. You had Justify, Kentucky Derby winner, and then just said, I'm sorry, Triple Crown winner, and then said, I'm going off to stud. There's no more racing for me. Um, but that's where all the money is. I just wish they kept superstars around a little longer so we could actually see them face some adversity. But then again, every loss counts against their record when they go to stud.
Yeah, yeah. So without any further ado, we'll get into some racing for the weekend. Then we'll start with the Kelso handicap over at Belmont Park. It's a Grade 2 for 3-year-olds and older, over a mile. it's for 3-year-old and olders, but I guess all the attention in this race will be on Life is Good, who's taking on older horses for the first time, I believe.
That's correct. But let's be honest, Life is Good is special. And thank you all the bettors out there who made Life is Good a favorite last time out against Jackie's Warrior. Thank you, because I pounded Jackie's Warrior and we came home as the second choice. But let's be honest here. There's a huge difference. One, they're going a mile, so they're going to try and stretch this horse out. 7 furlongs coming off the injury last time against Jackie's Warrior. I think they're going to try and build this horse back up to classic distances. And they finally made a move, which I am so happy for, and I hope it sticks. Money Mike Smith, see you later. Irad Ortiz Jr., one of the best jockeys in America, gets on board. And I also love that Belmont, the morning line caller, put a 1-9 on this horse. Those are his odds, 1-9. Because it's the truth. There really isn't anything special in this race. And the only way I see anyone making money is finding some prices underneath to play in an exact or trifecta. How did you see this race?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. There is no way in hell Life is Good is getting beaten in this race.
No.
There's just not a chance.
No.
So, like you said, you are looking underneath for something which could give you a bit of value in here. And I mean, it's not going to offer you much value because I'm going to stick the second favourite underneath it, and I quite like Chance It. I just think he is quite consistent. Like 2 seconds and 1/3 in 3 starts. Was third in the Farrago last time behind Yalpan. And I just think it's the obvious 1-2, isn't it, that?
I would agree, but I'm actually going to fade. And the only reason why I'm going to fade is because I do not think Manny Franco is an elite jockey. No offense to him. I'm more looking at just prices because I want to try and get a price. And Ramon Vasquez is actually winning at Belmont. I'm shocked, but you know what? If they can stay hot, Fort Peck, 15-1 underneath. I'm also going to go outside to Javier Castellano with Mike Maker, 10-1 on Doubly Blessed. In all honesty, like this race is going to be one where Life is Good is running his own race, and then everyone else is about 10 furlongs behind, trying to be all like, "Do I want to go for a second? Should we try? What are we going to do here? Are we going to go to the lead with him? That's probably dumb." It's going to be really interesting to see who comes up underneath.
Yeah, I did look at W Blessed as well, but I think his 7th in the Farrago did put me off him because he was behind Chansey in that. Obviously, Informative is also in here at a very big 30-1 price, and he was 7th in the Charlestown Classic. So I'm just using them kind of runs. I think Chansey is the one that's just going to come second. I like a very, very, very distant second.
If you're taking 7th at Charlestown, this ain't the race. This ain't the race for you, buddy. It ain't the race for you.
Let's a final word on that one then. So Life is Good.
Life is Good on top with Fort Peck and Doubly Blessed, and then probably an exacta. I just think one of them ends up second. I hear you about the fact that they haven't run better against similar, and your second choice is the obvious second choice. I just think Manny Franco blows it this day.
Yeah, so I'll be going first Life is Good, second is Chance It. But we'll get into some more competitive action now, I hope, with the Cotillion Stakes, which is at Parks Racing.
Wow.
Grade 1. Over 1 and 1/16 miles on the dirt for the 3-year-old fillies. A load of Eclipse Award winners have won this, such as Chevry, Suzanne's Girl, and Untappable. Is there anything anywhere near remotely near that level in this race?
No, and this is what really makes this race sad for me. We don't get to see the 3-year-old fillies that are really good. And listen, I get it, but at the same time, this race, you could throw a dart, and then, we're just going to bring it up. Bob Baffert putting horses in at Parks and then pulling them and blaming post position or better races. Come on, man. Come on. Like the jig is up, and it's really hard to be a Bob Baffert defender lately. And so the fact that he had a horse in here was gonna run, I thought was gonna run well here. They said, you know what? No thanks. We're gonna find something in Southern California. Don't like it. But we're handicapping the race, and we got to pick somebody. And I'm gonna go right to the inside of Private Mission. So Claire Air, Santana Asmussen. It's gonna be pretty tough here. Really like the connections, and I mean this horse is just lost to the best horses, Malatat, etc. So if Malatat's not here, might as well give this one a shot. And then I do like Army Wife. Last race, not so great. But at the same time, you got Rosario, you got Maker. I like the connections. Not the best of prices, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Who'd you like?
Yeah, I kind of faded Claire here. I know she's been beaten by a lot of every time she's lost to someone very very good.
Yeah.
But a record of one in six and being priced at 2-1 is enough to just put me off it.
Yeah.
So Army Wife, I think, is a better value pick at 7-2 because 3 from 5, proven in Grade 2 and Grade 3 company by winning the Black Eyed Susan and the Iowa Stakes, and obviously she was third in the Alabama when she was 9-1. But I've got a feeling with Always Karina here.
Okay.
I know Chad Brown is like always regarded as the turf trainer, but I feel like even on the dirt, he should be respected more.
Yeah.
And I think wins are going to be coming for this 3-year-old. I don't know whether it's going to be here or next run, but I think she's got a really, really good chance here purely because it is very, very open. So she was second in the Mother Goose, fourth in the test. And I just think there's definitely value to be had.
I don't blame you one bit. And Always Karina was my third choice in this race. The only thing is, and this is the thing about this race that's so frustrating, which horse is actually going to step up and win? You got seconds, you got thirds, you got fourths, you got seconds, and I'm with you. I usually try and find a price in these races, and then sure enough, we're gonna walk in, and Claire is gonna go off at 3-2, and Army Wife's gonna be 2-1 right behind her with Baffert skipping his horse out of there. Always Karina, if you can get 6-1 and you like her, take it. I think she's gonna be 4-1 come post time. I feel like all those odds go down. Because, in all honesty, I don't see much else here. I don't like Maracuja. Will's secret ain't a secret no more. Can't win. And so there's not a lot in this race that makes me go, ooh, yeah. Here's some value that I really like.
Yeah. I think it's going to be between them three, isn't it?
Yeah.
Will's secret, I was always kind of attracted to earlier in the year, but she can't win. So
No, she can't win. So yeah, I'm with you. But yeah, hate to be chalky, but yeah, I'm gonna go 5-6, and you're right, maybe 5-6-8. Throw in the horse you like, exacta trifecta box, and hope that your 8 comes out on top. That makes sense.
yeah, and I'll be sticking with Always Karina to get the job done this weekend.
Understandable.
Next up, then we'll go to the Gallant Bob, which is also at Parks. Big weekend at Parks this weekend. A Grade 2 over 6 furlongs for the 3-year-olds. I kind of feel like the only question here is if Jackie Warrior is going to beat the speed record, which was set by Royal Courier in 2011. I don't think there's any other doubt about who's going to win this, is there?
And this is where I very much respect the Belmont Morning Line person who put Life is Good at 1-9. Jackie's Warrior at 4-5 is a gift from the gods in this race against this field. It's a joke. Jackie's Warrior is going to go off at 1-5 or 1-9 in this race, and I hope they don't break the speed record, because this horse has performed so well over and over and over and over again, and hasn't done it always as easily as they should have. They've had to work for some wins. What I want Jackie's Warrior to do is go out there and jog the last 3/4 of a mile and just be all like, yep, I've got this in the bag. No one can touch me here. I really hope, if you want to go to the lead with this horse, you're dead. But that's what I think Paco's going to do with Real Talk the 1 at 5-1. I think he's going to go after him. The only thing is, does that guarantee him a second? Probably in this race. And I hate to do it, but I'm going to go Jackie's Warrior over Real Talk. So, I'm going to bookend this thing. I'm going to take the 7 to win, the 1 to take second, because I don't think there's much else in this race.
No, there really isn't. Like when I saw the entrance for this, I was kind of a little bit disappointed, really, because you want one more in there that could at least take on Jackie's Warrior and has at least a glimmer of a chance, but there's not one in here which can get anywhere near.
And the thing is, like, because Life is Good is heading towards the classic champion distances, they said, well, we tried sprinting against Jackie. Didn't work out so well. We lost. Even though it was a neck, I feel like Jackie's Warrior just had that horse's number, like, from the top of the stretch, and they were like, okay, well, we don't want to run against Jackie again, so let's find our own field and go a mile. But Jackie's Warrior at 6 or 7 furlongs, I don't think they can be touched. So, hate to be chalky. We're going some chalk today. I'm sorry. Let's try and find some prices underneath or just pound these exactas. But, yeah, I don't see anyone touching this horse.
No, and like you say, it's all about trying to find out a bit of value underneath. And I've kind of landed on Awesome Jerry here at 8-1. I just think he'd improved when he was second in the Robert Hilton, and he was fourth in the carry back stakes before that. And I just think, obviously, he's got no chance of coming first, but you're looking for something with a bit of value under there, which could be like at least a place player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Awesome Jerry is possibly that one.
I don't blame you. Third choice for me. Third choice. I think Paco's an aggressive rider. I think he's going to go out and try and fight Jackie's Warrior. And I think he's just going to hang on, in all honesty. But he could completely burn himself out, and Awesome Jerry could come up and take second for sure.
Yeah. So final word on that one then, before we get into the last race. So you're going with Jackie's Warrior above
a real talk, the 1. Yep.
Yeah, and I'll be going Jackie's Warrior above Awesome Jerry. At least
Nice.
we're both in agreement that Jackie's Warrior is going to win it.
For sure.
So last up, we've got the Pennsylvania Derby, also at Parks, a Grade 1 with a $1 million purse, over 1 1/8 miles for the 3-year-olds. I mean, this could have been something very, very special.
Could have been great.
Left Medina Spirit in here. But even still, we've still got a talented field here. Hot Rod Charlie, Midnight Bourbon, a couple of Triple Crown stars, but where are you landing on this?
Let's talk about Baffert for a second. You get an outside post with a speed horse. Parks, the rail at Parks usually doesn't win. And mind you, Parks has 2 big race days a year. So it's not like Baffert sends a ton of horses there. He doesn't. But taking this horse and saying, don't like the post is the reason that we're not traveling, stop it. Just stop it. Baffert, you've won with other speed horses from this exact same post at this exact same race course. You're worried about something. Don't know what it is. Well, I think I actually do know what it is.
I think everybody knows what it is.
I think everyone knows what it is. But this shtick is getting really old. If Medina Spirit is really special, then run them. Run them. I don't understand it. So going in, I really like Hot Rod Charlie. Hot Rod Charlie's going to be 3-2. Go figure, that last race at Monmouth. I can't blame Flavian. He couldn't use the whip. So even though the horse takes first, he gets taken down. What are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to control a 1,200-pound animal without any direction? Just, oh, hey, could you let me whisper in your ear? Could you turn right here and not hammer that horse inside? Ridiculous. So I don't think this is going to be much of a race, in all honesty. And I also think there's a horse that everyone talks about, like, oh, they're going to pop up here. This is the time. Keep me in mind. the 2 at 8-1, Joel Rosario. Rosario is super hot. I'm looking at a Hot Rod Charlie, a 7 deuce. Hot Rod Charlie over Keep Me in Mind in second. How'd you see it?
Yeah, I've made no secret about my love for Hot Rod Charlie. I just think you know exactly what you're getting with your money because he just is such a battler. I mean, I would be lying if I say that this fact that he hasn't won a Grade One yet isn't kind of playing on my mind because I feel like it's almost becoming a running joke now that he should have landed one by now and he just hasn't. Obviously, the one at Monmouth was just it was a mess.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't have foreseen that happening.
No.
The one thing that Midnight Bourbon did return after that with a decent second in the Travers, but I felt like he was like weakening towards the line in the Haskell. So like
Yeah.
it was a non-factor really.
Yeah.
Like he was never ever getting there, and that's what kind of puts me off Midnight Bourbon in this one because he's 5-1 at the minute. He's probably going to go off second favourite, I guess. Now Medina Spirit's not in here,
Yeah, I would agree.
and I just don't think if the race kind of plays out as it did in the Haskell, that he's not going to be able to catch Hot Rod Charlie. Like he needs the race to go perfectly to suit him to have any chance.
Correct. And realistically, I just don't see it happening to your point, right? If you need everything to click your way, it's just not. It's just not going to happen. Especially at a place like Parks where the turns are a little tighter. Like you're going to need someone to get taken out, wiped out. You're going to need absolute just speed, everyone going to the lead and you cleaning up, running down the middle, but I'm just not seeing it.
No, and there's a couple of here that a couple in here that you could also scratch as well, like Wayburn. I don't. It's not going to deal with the distance at all. Fullshaw, the late winning store might suit him, but I just think this is just a huge step up for him.
Yeah.
The one that I do kind of like, who is a bit of a gamble, is Speaker's Corner in here. It's won over 7 furlongs in very, very dominant fashion at Saratoga. Obviously, the step up in distance is going to be a big question mark over him. But he is bred to kind of stay this kind of distance. And I think with his pace, he could be a decent one to kind of watch here. And I'd play him underneath Hot Rod Charlie because I just think it's going to be chaos behind him.
No, I kind of agree with you. And I mean, you look at the connections and how can you, out of street sense, you got Jose Ortiz, Bill Mott, and Godolphin. I mean, those are winning connections through and through. And yeah, it was a really impressive race at Saratoga. And Saratoga was the toughest meet to win at and win impressively. And sure enough, they did. And so I'm with you. I can see that as an underneath play for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But I think we agree that Hot Rod Charlie probably gets his Grade 1 here.
I would agree. Hot Rod Charlie finally gets his Grade 1. Flavin Pratt, another Grade 1. All this dude wins it. All this dude does is win. He's a winner.
And who you playing underneath Hot Rod Charlie?
Keep me in mind. And you know what? I'm going to play your 3 underneath as well. You talked me into it.
Yeah, and I'll be going Hot Rod Charlie 1 and Speaker's Corner 2. I did have Keep Me in Mind 3 as well, so we are kind of on the same wavelength here.
We really are this week. But then again, you could see if some of these horses were actually facing each other, like it would really be a special day of racing. But I do like a lot of chalk, unfortunately. But what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, yeah. So we'll round off then. Best bets for the weekend, Ace. What are you going with?
Best bets for the weekend. Hot Rod Charlie gets it done for me. He gets his Grade 1. And then I'm going to take the 2 and the 3 underneath for an exacta and a trifecta. That's my best bet. I think Hot Rod Charlie is a special horse, and I think they finally get their due.
Yeah, my best bet is also in the exact same race. I quite like Hot Rod Charlie to win it, and then Speaker's Corner second for me.
Very nice.
And hopefully we'll have a few more winners this weekend then.
That's the plan, and I know we're wrapping up here. I just want to say, closing day at Arlington Park, outside of Chicago, tomorrow, Saturday, the 25th. Been around since 1933. Churchill Downs is deciding not to keep this race course, not to race in the state of Illinois. It's going to be a really sad day for Illinois racing, but what great racing. Santa Barbara, Secretariat ran there, Gallant Fox, some just monster horses ran there. One of the most beautiful turf courses you'll ever see. And shout out to Big Raj because I know he's going to be missing it just as much as me.
And that's a very nice way to end. Thank you very, very much for joining us for the Racing Gambit this week. We'll be back next week to preview the Arc and all the other graded races taking place in the States. But for now, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Ace. Thank you very much.